They decided to send a letter round yesterday, which we got hold of, but the IMF are broke, just about totally broke, period. They are a subsidiary of the UN, which has been broken up by the trust, and the funds have been returned to the subsequent nations. So the IMF has nothing left. And the Julius Bio, the president of Sierra Leone, received the email below from the IMF, and apparently it's also been sent to all African countries, and it reads as follows. The IMF officially green-lighted the acceptance of China's currency, the yuan, into the IMF's foreign exchange basket. This move paves the way for the IMF to place the yuan on a par with the US dollar, and this is the latest in a series of global developments that threatens to eliminate the US dollar as the world's reserve currency. Now, experts have predicted that this announcement will trigger one of the most profound transfers of wealth in our lifetime. So if you want to protect your savings and retirement, you better get your money out of US dollar investments and into the one asset class that rises as currencies collapse. Now, according to the IMF, they hold supreme power. The IMF, International Monetary Fund, or IMF, is one of the most secretive and powerful organisations in the world, or they were, and they used to monitor the financial health of more than 185 countries. They establish global money rules and provide bailout assistance to bankrupt nations, which is all lies. Some are warning that any move by the IMF to supplant the US dollar could be catastrophic to American investments. And now the IMF have made the first move. As reported by the Wall Street Journal, they accepted the China's currency, the yuan, into the foreign exchange basket, and this marks the first time in history the IMF has expanded the number of currencies in the foreign exchange basket. This means that the Chinese currency will now become a viable global alternative to the US dollar, according to Juan Zarate, who helped implement financial sanctions while serving in George W. Bush's Treasury Department. Once the other currency becomes an alternative to the dollar, rules of the game begin to change. Now, Leong Sing Cheong, Assistant Manager and Director at a major central bank, said the dollar alternative is likely to transform the financial landscape in the next 5 to 10 years. This was part of the letter that the IMF sent out. All of it is complete and utter bullshit, period. It's just IMF pretending to shout loud, a bit like the Rothschilds. We own this, we're doing that. They're not doing any of it. They don't have no authority whatsoever. It's just the illusion of it. But their thugs are threatening countries trying to collect on debts, which may or may not have anything to do with the IMF. And it's important that these countries know that the IMF is bankrupt and power over the UN has been returned to the countries, including the World Bank and the IMF. It was declared null and void by the President of the UN, which currently is Kim, because the UN was part of the trust. Oops. And what happened is Kim then gave every country that owned a share of the UN and retained all the funds. And the UN does not belong to the factions, even if the IMF is still running around doing their bidding. These people work for the nations, each one with an equal share, and not the other way around. So it's important that the nations get a backbone and tell the IMF and the Rothschilds to